Hey folks, Phil Gallagher here for Daily Death and Taxes. We're still playing with the blue-white list, and Moto really doesn't like it when I try to switch over like that. We're still playing with the blue-white list from yesterday. So again, we're playing Meddling Mages and Spell Quellers in the main deck, for some reason unknown even to me. We have an okay opening hand. It's not super impressive, but it's definitely good enough to keep. Most Ether Vial starts are. Since we have so many lands, I'm pretty tempted to like put myself into a position where I can get wastelanded by playing a Tundra first. This also plays around a Stifle. Forest Pitch, Brazen Borrower. So we could be looking at a Delver deck. We could be looking at sort of a mid-range control deck of some nature. Hard to say at this point. We going all in on Tundras this game? Or am I getting some basics? Let's go in on the Tundras. Dear opponent, please don't Plague Engineer me. I will lose the will to live. Now Snapcaster Fatal Push the other. Alright. So we are playing against Stryfo Pile, aka Punishing Dak. I do not like my current start against that deck. This mom's gonna die here, and then I have to pass the turn and hope they play something into my Spell Queller. Yikes. Oh, this is gonna be an interesting turn. So my opponent doesn't have Punishing Fire, or they would have just Punishing Fired this mom before turning it into an Elk so that it can't get Punishing Fired. I think my opponent needs to cast something on their turn. But if they don't, it's so bad if I just hold up Spell Queller. So accordingly, I think I am going to cast the Thalia. If I just pass the turn, and my opponent does not do anything, and I'm forced to like use the Spell Queller suboptimally during their turn, it is not going to feel good. Somewhat interestingly here, the opponent did not just turn Thalia into an Elk to ignore the Thalia effect. Nice. So we are killing the Oko this turn. Just full stop. And now we just hold up Spell Queller. Oh, I'll play that Oko. Let me have it. Oh. Oh no, opponent. Nice. Nice. Alright, so what do we have for Stryfo pile? Council Judgment is good. Rest in Peace is good. True Name is good. Actually, like, a giant portion of the sideboard are cards that we can consider. Revoker and Geist are the weakest of everything over here. Using this on food / Elks is kind of hilarious, because it gets everything with the same name. So Source of Plowshares is going to be pretty weak against this deck, minus Plague Engineer, and we do want to leave ourselves some outs to that. I think this is going to be rough. I don't particularly think Jitte is great. I'll probably trim my Stoneforge package a little bit. I don't like that this isn't going to get through an Elk. Trim. And then it's one of the 1-drops is going to go away here. There's also a consideration to cutting the Palace Jailer, though. While drawing cards is just going to be, like, great, great, great against my opponent's deck, I might have enough things that are annoying against this deck that I don't necessarily need to lean on Palace Jailer. So on the draw, I'm going to board out the Jailer, and if we go to game 3, I'm going to bring the Jailer back in, probably for one of my Swords to Plowshares. Great hand is great. If I get the option to this game, I will respect a Back to Basics or Blood Moon type of effect a little bit more. I don't think my opponent is going to have anything like that. But given that I already have all the color sources that I need, future fetch lands will probably just get me stable mana. Opponent with a tricky Ponder situation, but they end up keeping. That Vial is so good right now. Ooh. So it may be correct for me to not jam the Thalia this turn, because jamming it just plays it into their open mana, and something like a Fatal Push or a Punishing Fire just takes out the Thalia now. So I think I'm just going to play patiently here and pass the turn. I'll be a little punished if my opponent destroys the Vial on their turn, but not super punished. You have an Oko. This is not actually bad at all for me. It might even be good, because this means like that my opponent doesn't get to just kill my stuff. So like I get Mom here, I tick this Vial up, put Vial to 2, Thalia comes in. And now I need to decide whether or not I'm going to blank this food, which will stonewall my Thalia in the short term, or whether or not I just want to knock them off of a land. And it's close. I think I'm going to knock them off the land. So my reasoning being that next turn I can either hold up double Spell Queller or Wasteland them again while holding up single Spell Queller. Mm-hmm. Tricky. So we obviously take this up to 3 for our Spell Queller. And then we'll attack Oko, hold back the Thalia, have my opponent's resources pretty darn constrained. And just be in stellar shape. And I'm just going to hold the Spell Queller rather than use it to pressure the Oko more. So we can't beat Force of Will with that. We did get a Dak Baden out of the deal, so perfectly happy with that. Yep. Now, since I can kill the Oko with an attack, I should probably just play the Spell Queller. And, like, Mom backs it up here. So that's fine. The third Wasteland of the game here is just disrespectful. This isn't a particularly good attack. There's very little cost to it, but I know that my opponent can't play something that can kill my Thalia for free. And food is green, so... That was an attack that didn't actually gain them anything and left them with one fewer blocker. For this exact scenario happening. Delicious. Delicious. Wouldn't you know it? The foods have the same name. Send in the troops. Opponent really needs something like a Toxic Deluge. I don't even know that something like a Plague Engineer is good enough at this point. So not getting red for Kroxa. Well, said they needed to have it. They did. It's a little frustrating. Since that was like the one turn for that to happen. Sure. So the next question will be, if my opponent doesn't put any permanents into play, do I just put Deputy of Detention into play to attack with it? Well, that's a scary card in this shell. Luckily, I get to get rid of it. So we put our opponent to 2. And we deploy a mob. Opponent needs double removal spell in all likelihood. Oko would cost 4. Assassin's Trophy, Mother of Runes. Okay. Yes. Get a plans. Alright. Do you have a Bolt or Fatal Push? Alright, so you have a Fatal Push for Deputy of Detention. That's fine. You don't have Revolt. Yeah. So they could have stayed alive by Fatal Pushing the Thalia instead. I bounce it, they take 1, then I redeploy the Thalia with shields down on the Thalia. They would need like a Plague Engineer or something like that off the top to continue. Alright, hope you enjoyed that one. I will be back tomorrow. Croaks.